I'm going to show you how to practice blending. Whether you use a regular eyeliner pencil, eyeshadow, charcoal, or grease liner, the technique would still be the same. So one way you could actually practice would just be on the back of your hand, which is usually the easiest. You can practice with pencil. Kind of like, you know, when you were in school and the art teacher made you do a black and white picture, and you did a really hard line and a heavy coat of the pencil, and then you took your finger and you smudged or smeared that shade out, or the color out, so you can do some shading. So it's kind of the same concept. So if you want to practice on pencil, then you can do that just to get your technique down or your shapes down. But for makeup purposes, we'll be doing on the back of the wrist today, or the back of the hand today. And so we'll start with the pencil. This one here is from Prestige, and it's Total Intensity, and it's just a charcoal pencil. So we're just gonna do a circle, and just a pretty dark circle on the back of the hand. And any brush that you like to use. Some people like to use sponges, some people like to use brushes that have the hard bristles, some like soft bristles. It really just depends on your preference and the technique that you're trying to achieve. So we'll do a softer brush and we'll blend that out. So the purpose of this is to make that dark circle blend out into just a big circle of the color, not necessarily having such a heavy spot in the middle. I'll be using different brushes, so you'll see how this is actually, the brushes is pushing that color out into a blended look. Okay, so you can see that there. Okay, that dark circle in the middle is starting to go away, and you're starting to get some of the color on the outer rim of that middle circle. And this is just with the soft brush. Let's go ahead and move on to a still soft brush, but the bristles are a little bit more put together and they stay put. So this kind of brush allows you to move the color and the pigment a little bit better. And you're just blending and blending and blending. And your goal or your purpose would be to get rid of that dark in the middle and have it expand out on the outer edges of that circle. We'll use a brush that has little harder bristles. Okay, this one's pretty good. And we'll just do the same thing. And you're just blending that color. Now if you notice with this brush that the bristles are a little bit harder and the bristles are more compact, you notice that it's easier for that color to expand out to the sides. So your blending would be easier. So really preference of your brush is more what you like. Some techniques, there's certain things that, you know, it'd be better and easier for you to work with, but really it's whichever you feel more comfortable with. So as you can see here now, the dark circle in the middle has gone away, and now I just have a starburst of the black all the way around. So whenever you're practicing, starting in with a dark circle in the middle and then getting that color to spread out would be a good thing. The next thing that you want to do is do a line. So let's get our liner here. And I'll do it here on the side. So I'm just going to do like a Pac-Man. So one thing that you want to really think about whenever you're doing the smoky eye or any kind of angle on your angled shape on your eyelid is that think geometry, think of Pac-Man, okay? So the mouth of the Pac-Man is like this, okay? And depending on how big you want that cat eye to look or how small, your angle of your Pac-Man or your triangle is going to change. So one thing that a lot of people have trouble doing is getting both eyes to look the same. So if this Pac-Man or this triangle is this wide, then if your angle on this side is this wide, obviously it's not going to be the same. So you need to make sure that those angles are the same on both sides. So first establish your angle and then fill it in and blend it in. That'll help you a lot. So what we'll do is we'll get started here. And let's say that that's going to be my angle. And let's say this is going to be my line. Okay? Of course, I would do the same thing on the other side. Then I'm going to take my pencil. Sorry, my brush, and then I'm going to blend it in the shape of an eye, obviously. So this brush that I'm using is a brush that has the bristles a little bit more compacted together and it's stiffer. And as you can see, I'm able to move my pigment of my liner to shade in or blend in or expand, whichever vocabulary you choose to use, into my actual eyeliner. You can bring it into the tear duct area. You can fill in the waterline, although sometimes that, depending on the kind of product you're using, the kind of makeup liner that you're using, it might irritate your eyes. And you can always wing it out. Same thing when you're winging it out, when you're putting a tail to your triangle. When I say triangle, I mean if there's a line here, this would be my triangle here. Okay, so when you're putting your tail to your triangle, or if you want to think of it, you know, your Hershey Kisses, the chocolate that has a little ribbon up on the top, whenever it does, whenever you are expanding that wing, think of it on both sides. It has to have the same angle or same direction or curve or flow on both sides of the eye. So you want to keep that in consideration, or take that in consideration when you're doing it. So there I'm able to do that. Whenever you also are winging it, you want to blend it in on the top and the bottom. Okay, and so then there you go. So it's a great way to practice, and remember, the more you practice, the better off you are whenever you're actually doing it on a person, yourself, or a client.